let's talk about a subject matter that a lot of people love when I talk about, certainly in the state of Pittsburgh, or the city of Pittsburgh and the state of Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh fans, they love it when I talk about Tomlin, who I saw over the weekend, called the game. And then when things started going south for the Steelers in the game, my Twitter feed filled up again.
I bet.
Now you see it, Rich, with your own two eyes?
Yeah.
Now you see it?
That's probably the tamest.
So let me just say this as an apology to Steelers fans. Let me just apologize for saying the words, "You're out of your friggin' minds if you don't want Mike Tomlin as your head coach anymore." It's probably a very strong way of putting it, and I understand that you would take it personally that I think you're crazy. Okay? So to answer your question, now do I see what you're referring to? Yeah, I see it. I had my own two eyes calling the game, and I saw a team that is not responding to this guy, and it's a mystery to me. Now, you might sit here and say, well, why should it be a mystery to you? Steelers fans might say this. Why is it a mystery to you? Take a look. They haven't won a playoff game in 7 years. And they're sick and tired of hearing how he never has a losing record when it's about winning championships, division, conference, and the whole enchilada. I understand it. You know who also understands it? The guy that's on the screen. His name's Mike Tomlin. He understands that. He's got to be sitting there thinking to himself, why are they not responding? And in the meeting that I had with Tomlin and a handful of the Steelers prior to the game, we met with TJ Watt and Najee Harris and Mitchell Trubisky, who has since apparently lost his starting job. We'll get to that in a second. Met with those guys. And TJ Watt, I asked him how Tomlin's been this week, expecting the answer of the same as he always is. And I got that answer. You know who loves playing for Mike Tomlin is TJ Watt.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that when he plays, you win a lot. And when he doesn't play, the number that we had on the screen that we're going to throw up there, but we didn't get to that stat during the game, 1 in 10 the Steelers are without him. And the guy who he wants to play for is Mike Tomlin. And the reason why is because he described it, that Mike Tomlin is always the same, no matter high or low, and that he is somebody that is showing the way to win by treating the guys like they're grown-ass men and not coddling them, not babying them, and letting them decide and figure stuff out on their own. Is he coaching them up? Absolutely. He is basically going into these meetings and being a dynamic leader and trying to inspire to the point where TJ Watt said it was wild. He used that phrase. It's wild to him that some of the players, upon hearing that, don't respond in a way on a field or on a practice field. He used that word. It's wild and that some of them don't want to practice, is what he said. Or want to practice in the way that everybody's supposed to practice. And he said that this past week, everyone did do that. And then you saw the result. Now, you could sit there and say, then Tomlin's got to change his way. TJ Watt also said that the younger generation takes criticism personally. And how that, he didn't call it a problem. I just inferred it was. And then you see guys on the field like George Pickens turning down some contact on a running play. Deontay Johnson, who, by the way, had a terrific game on Saturday night, did the same in a win over Cincinnati that led to Kenny Pickett getting hurt and all the problems on offense come home to roost again with a backup quarterback in Trubisky. You didn't have any time to prepare properly for the Patriots, but had a full week plus to prepare for the Colts. And except for one offensive series, it was brutal. Over 200 yards total, just barely over it. And then in terms of, Tomlin making maneuvers in the game, I even called one out. It's an 11-point game, 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Here we go, hashtag. And out comes Chris Boswell for a 56-yard attempt. He goes back, out comes a punter. And they punted it away. And Tomlin, I guess, was saying, I'm going to lean on the side of the defense to make a play and get us back on the field. We need 2 more possessions. There's enough time on the clock for 2 more possessions, and he was rewarded with that decision by a defense that gave up an 9-minute drive that started with 14 straight run plays, and it wasn't with Jonathan Taylor or Zach Moss. It was with Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson, and that is a very concerning moment for a Steeler fan, is the defense started to crumble because the offense kept putting them out there. And the defense that T.J. Watt said before this game knew they had to keep things going on their side of the ball for this team to get back to Kenny Pickett, who may be back in time this week, but instead it's now Mason Rudolph, which is the latest also head scratcher as well. And the Colts had this happen in their favor in Germany when Bill Belichick benches Mac Jones for a late game, mind-blowing, back-breaking interception and tells Bailey Zappi, you get out there now and you try and win the game. And he wound up fake spiking it and throwing one more pick. And the Colts take the win there, and that's when, according to Tom Curran, the Crafts start making decisions about ending their relationship with Belichick or laying the groundwork for it. And so now here is Mike Tomlin, who 1 week before gave a flat-out no answer. Did you think of putting him in the game against the Patriots and pulling Trubisky, him being Mason Rudolph? No. Now he's putting Mason Rudolph in a game and handing him a mop, as I said in the broadcast. And the Colts took that to the bank and won a football game. And now that's a latest example for those in Pittsburgh to say, what are you thinking? I mean, if he was good enough to hand a mop, why not let him start? When everybody could see that Trubisky is not the guy. So to answer your question in Pittsburgh, yes, I understand. It makes me think, what does Tomlin think? Because if these guys aren't responding and he's still himself, what's he thinking? Because I'll tell you what, Andy Reid went somewhere else, and look at him now, right?
Exactly.
Belichick might be going somewhere else. I mean, the Patriots are technically the somewhere else for him.
Yeah, exactly. He
right?
did go somewhere
and
else.
So maybe it is time for Tomlin to try somewhere else. And Steelers fans, if you're looking for that, maybe this is the time you're going to get it. I don't know what the Rooneys are thinking. As you know, they rarely make moves like this. And I don't know if Tomlin should want out, too. Like, these kids are not like, how is George Pickens not blocking on offense, like a run play? Like, what's going on?
Not the first time he's had effort issues.
And I understand, again, Steeler fans, that this offense should be better. I mean, Pickens is really talented. You know who else is? Harris, Warren, Freiermuth. Deontay. I mean, you should be having more than 200 yards of offense, and that may be the guys who are on Tomlin's staff to dial it up. So if I'm Tomlin and, say, the Washington Commanders say, why don't you come down here, we'll hook you up with Bieniemy and let's go. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Unless he wants to stay in Pittsburgh. I don't know. And he also didn't strike me as a guy that was looking for the next. He was looking for the win this week, to the point where we asked him, is possible that Pickett can come back? He said something along the lines of that there were rumblings about it, but he's just too focused on this game. And he says, don't worry, I will be asking the questions about him 5 minutes after the game's over. Mm-hmm. And it's possible Pickett does play this week, but according to Tomlin, it's Mason Rudolph's gig Saturday against the Bengals.
It's our intention as we sit here today to give Mason Rudolph an opportunity to start. He's a veteran guy. He's a backup, but he's also a veteran guy. He's been in our program a long time. He's here for those reasons. We got a great deal of comfort with him. Why are we making the change, man? We don't like what we're looking at and the consistency of it. What I mean is we're not scoring enough points. The engineering of victory is not going to be fluid if you're not doing those things. And obviously, by nature of the position, the guy that has the ball, the quarterback position, man, that's a catalyst for change and an opportunity. And so we want to give him some snaps from a preparation standpoint, some in-helmet perspective, not dumping the outcome of the game at Mitch's feet. I'm not saying that, but I am saying the guy at that position is at the controls and does have a big say in how some things unfold.
Well, I mean, Mitch threw a fourth down reception to Deontay Johnson to keep the game alive, and then the next snap airmails George Pickens to end it because he, as Kurt pointed out, rushed the throw, didn't have his feet set.
Yep.
So I don't know if this is the end or this should be the end. And I'm only talking about the end because I'll be honest, most every Steeler fan that's on my Twitter feed right now is demanding it.
They're very loud.
But this guy still can coach, and TJ Watt wants to be coached by him. That's for sure. The question is why aren't some of the other guys responding in the same way TJ Watt is? Maybe they should look to that because TJ Watt is a guy who's on the path to the Hall of Fame. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.